Hi. I guess I didn't get enough views. My camera won't work on my channel on my laptop. So, I have this paragraph to read about goals. I'm pretty sure I didn't get to read this. And I have like 3 sections of 3 books to share, ending with the Overcoming Bipolar workbook. So, this about goals are different from plans. Sometimes a goal may seem impossible because there are so many roadblocks along the way. Many people quit trying to reach their goals when the problem seems impossible to fix. But one way to help yourself stay on track is to remember that it's not the goal that needs to change when things get tough. Instead, it's the plan that needs changing. Maybe you need new tools or different way of looking at the situation. So remember, when reaching a goal, such as achieving a more stable relationship, seems difficult or impossible, your plans for how to arrive at the goal may have to change occasionally, but your goal can stay the same. Okay, I am pretty sure I didn't read these. So, these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 goals. One I circled and put a star, so it must be a good one. I want a loving relationship where bipolar disorder is just an illness my partner and I manage together. I'm willing to do what it takes to make this happen. I want to be in a relationship where we are equal partners and I'm not a caretaker, so I will do whatever it takes to make this happen. I want us to travel together in a healthy way. I would like to do this within the next year. I want a relationship where out of control anger and violence are not options. I will no longer accept out of control anger or violence in this situation. This starts now and today. So I'm pretty sure why I circled this and highlighted it or started. You can feel like the anger and the violence would always come out of the bipolar individual. Maybe. But the violence and anger could also come out of the partner or the spouse. So this is something that you definitely need to have ways to deal with. And I don't always have one. I'll give you one that was given to me once for my marriage, and that's to have a safe word. In other words, you're having a discussion, it's spiraling to something more than a discussion, like a fight, da-da-da-da-da-da. So a safe word. Safe word could be hippopotamus. Safe word could be xylophone. Safe word could be broccoli. And I hate myself some broccoli. All right, so that's, I would say you need a therapist or a marriage counselor if you're married to give you more tools than that. That's the only one I'm going to give, because nowhere in my research for my dissertation came about, what partners and spouses should do when things get tough. I'm going to learn about the role of diet and exercise in mood swings by educating myself and asking questions. Pivotal. We've talked about this beaucoup de times, and it's worth mentioning again. Your diet, exercise, sleep hygiene. If you're the one with the illness, you have to try as much as you can to do those things for yourself. But if you have a caring partner and a caring spouse, they will help you with what they can. They can't do it for you, but they might be willing to give you hints when you're having situations where diet and exercise are not being handled correctly. I want to learn about my partner's medications and their side effects. So this means you're the person who has the bipolar partner or spouse. Yeah, I guess it's handy to know what's a mood stabilizer, an antidepressant pill, or a sedating pill. I can't give you that information. I'm not a pharmacist. I'm not a psychopharmacologist, which is what people need anymore. Long time ago, it used to be that your psychiatrist would talk to you and do your medicine, but nowadays it's the psychiatrist does the psychopharmacologist role, and you might have a counselor that is your CBT talk therapy. Maybe there are still psychiatrists that do talking, or maybe there are a lot of psychiatrists that just handle the medications because they have learned so much since the illness was named. They've learned so much. If you just watch TV, names of new antidepressants come up all the time, like little popsicle stick faces, I'm happy, I'm sad. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot. I can't even name all the ones I've seen in the last couple days, but I wouldn't attempt to tell you what's good for you because there are side effects. I think one of the examples I'm going to read today is a gentleman who had a really large weight issue that was associated with his medications. So the doctor does try to help him in that regard, possibly switch some medicines to ones they've researched, longitudinal studies, where they realize one med it affects weight gain, weight loss, etc. Okay. I would like to be more assertive with my partner's healthcare team to let them know what I need from them. I will remind myself not to get intimidated when I see my partner's doctor, and I will have my list of questions ready. That is pivotal for any doctoring you have, any part of your health. Write some questions down before you go. Maybe it's an annual checkup. Maybe you're there for something. Write down the questions so that when you get there, as much as what they say, you can make sure your questions get in so that when you leave, even if you don't have the answer to everything, the doctor is aware of the questions you have. I want to help my partner find stability by examining our lifestyle. Let me comment on this. We all want to be at that baseline. We all want to be at that baseline. Mental illness, no mental illness, we all want to be at that baseline. Sometimes you just get your mania close to just a little of that baseline. Sometimes your depression is just a little below that baseline. But your doctor should know, how close meds and CBT, etc., can get you close. it might never be that you're completely on a baseline with the majority of humanity, but you need to be enough hugging that baseline that you can work, go to school, be in relationships, and it takes work besides the medicines and besides CBT and counselors and tools and whatever Dr. O'Brien says in that back bipolar back room. Maybe some of it's helping. I wish I knew if any of it was. Okay. I want to understand and accept the fact that my partner cannot work right now, and I want to learn how I can help our family deal with this financially. Okay, so that is a possibility. Even though this is just about bipolar, and bipolar can have effect on jobs. Just to throw this in, what my research includes is a schizophrenic episode can be months. Bipolar up or down, we've talked about 4 days, 5 days, maybe 2 weeks. We've never talked about months. So it's probably on the unusual side, if even you would be hospitalized. I'm going to say in all my research, maybe 4 months, which would be very unusual and a very manic or very depressed. But I feel like with college, support, safety net support, college support, close family support, or, even as you're in a job, you could minimize being out of work. All the research that I now know about schizophrenia, which is not nearly what I know about bipolar, that can be months. And that is why, as I said, I have a new understanding of schizophrenic illness and what my research was about collegians, to make that simple, to leave when you have an episode and come back when you're better, and not have to make you apply again and go through, which can be like a little on the complicated side sometimes. So that if I was advising colleges or counseling centers, I would say if you can work towards something at your college that gives somebody with a more severe mental illness time to be off and time to come back, and make it as smooth as you can for them, because they have a lot just battling, fighting to stay baseline, because it's not just easy waking up without a mental illness and, wow, I'm stable. God bless you and keep you and make his face to shine upon you. But for some people, they wake up every morning with a little bit of a battle on their hands. It doesn't have to be an awful battle. Like we're saying with goals. With goals, you can get out of bed in the morning and say, well, I'm a little hypomanic, I'm a little depressed. What can I do today to ease that burden? Diet, exercise, make sure you get enough sleep. Pardon me. Okay. I want my relationship with my partner to be stable for our children. I want to involve them in this healing process. Okay. People are going to marry with mental illnesses. You wish that it would not affect the children, but if it does, they are not without answers. There are counselors in public schools. There are counselors in many Catholic schools. And not just for them. If they are feeling stressed because some of the things that are happening at home, they're not going to try to fix your mental illness or your husband's mental illness or how it affects your marriage, but they can help give the children tools. You know, if this happens, maybe you should go in your room and do some music. Maybe you should go outside and ride your bike or whatever. So I wish I could say that every counselor I ever met in all my teaching experience was A+. But even the ones that, you know, aren't as exceptional, they still have learned tools and they still can give your young person some tools. Okay. I want to spend time with my partner, not with my partner and bipolar disorder. Okay, so I haven't said much about this. But if you have mental illness, that shouldn't be your first identity. All right? You're whoever you are, and you have an illness. You're whoever you are, and you have diabetes. You're whoever you are, and you're struggling and battling cancer. But you are not cancer. You are not diabetes. Therefore, you are not your bipolar disorder. And I would say when you can zero in on your interests, things that bring you joy, sports, music, art, looking at art, studying art, being artistic in a lot of different ways, you need to have your interests. And then you can't throw away that you're bipolar, because it's going to be the rest of your life that you do have that illness. But you want to focus on things that make you you. And you don't want to have the first thing you say is, I'm bipolar. Or the first thing your spouse says is, she's bipolar, he's bipolar. So, and a lot of people don't want people to know, and that's their choice. That's their choice. Maybe there's a way they don't have to tell people, and it can just be the support group and the person that has that struggle in their life. You have to go with what your doctor would say, what your counselor would say. You know, how you're going to handle this in your life under situations. I want a normal sex life that is about passion and love, not about bipolar disorder symptoms. Okay, so I've mentioned this before. It's not my area of expertise. But in really above average hypomanic episodes, and definitely in mania, there can be increased libido. There can be recklessness about sexuality. So I think what they're saying here is, I'd rather not be with you when you're manic, but that may be when you feel the most sexual. But as you're reining certain parts of your illness in, you might find that the intimacy in the relationship can be more just intimacy and not a result out of your increased libido just because of a high or a hypomanic episode. I want to track our money so that we do not have to go through another financial emergency. I'm going to start educating myself on what I can do to create a financial plan. Okay, so I have heard in extreme cases that it was necessary to take someone's credit cards, whatever. that's an individual couple. That's probably the spouse or the partner who doesn't have the illness and maybe gets instructions from the psychiatrist or the counselor. It may not be that you need to ever take it away, but it may only be 4 or 5 days till the individual settles. I can't speak a lot to that, but you can certainly ask the doctor, ask the counselor. God bless Google. You can Google it and probably find something. And now with AI, they'll find a little something about anything. They might not have a lot of information, but they might give you a smidge. You might find a link to go to other things. So I'm not totally against AI, and I don't think it frightens me anymore like it did before. And I'm not going to go into why it might frighten me or not. But there are ways right now with how AI stands and the involvement in any of our lives where it can be very helpful. My hope, and I will, if I've never said it on here before, I heard that they're going to be able to take, someone's DNA and take the cancer, take things that they know about the person when they don't have cancer and take a look at the line of things with the cancer and being able to zero in on, the cancerous workings. And also, I believe they can now try to make cells that, find your cancer and get rid of it. I mean, like on the cellular level. I don't mean totally. So lots of good things could come out of AI. So we just have to, as I say, the people that are putting the information in the computer, for AI, as long as they're good people, then it probably will be a good result. So we hope all the people on the high level that are doing the AI work, good people. Not necessarily perfect, but good people putting in good information. Okay. I will not let bipolar make any more decisions in my relationship. I'm going to maintain perspective. I may have years and years of old behavior to change. It's going to take time. I give myself that time to reach goals. You and your partner both need your separate goals as well as goals that you will work on together to make your relationship stronger and more stable. These goals will help you explore the reality of limitations that the disorder places on your relationship and create goals that focus on what you can do instead of on what bipolar makes it impossible for you to do. So believe it or not, that took 23 minutes and I was going to go to 2 other books. So we'll settle for that. Have a blessed weekend and a fun weekend. And I'll see you tomorrow, which is Saturday. Take care. Bye-bye.